All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call halayim Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right. So what I have here today on screen, as you see, I'm watching one of Apostle Gabar's videos, and he's talking about the connection between the Irish and a Jamaican accent. All right, now there is a connection, all right, because the people that came, all right, the people that are in the land of Jamaica, all right, today, all right, they were put there in slavery, all right, from Ireland. They were carried out from Ireland and then put in to Jamaica. All right, they came from Barbados, all right, and Ireland, all right, and I'm gonna prove that with a book, all right, because Apostle Gabar made a statement, and I want to prove that his statement is true, all right, what he said, all right. I'm gonna prove it with a history book, all right, called the Negro Question, all right, Part 1 by Lee Cummins, all right. So let me just play this video so you can hear what he said, all right? And I just want to, double down on what he said, all right? By showing you what he said is true, all right? So let me play this video.
Customs and so-called Negro customs. They mentioned, number one, the music fusion, and I gave you an example with the country and western. Linguistic influences is another example. The Jamaican accent is thought to have influences from both Irish and African accents due to cultural mixing in the Caribbean. And that's true. And recently I've been thinking about that. I said, why does the Jamaican accent sound so much like the Irish accent? Because a lot of the so-called Irish that came out of Ireland, a lot of them made their way to Jamaica. A lot of them made their way to Barbados, Jamaica and Barbados in particular. Okay? These are facts.
You heard what he said? Let me rewind that real quick. A couple seconds back, 10 seconds back.
Irish that came out of Ireland, a lot of them made their way to Jamaica.
You hear that? He said a lot of the people that came out of Ireland made their way to Jamaica, and that's true, right? Because you have Irish slaves, Negro slaves that were brought to Jamaica, all right, from Ireland and Barbados, and he mentioned that.
A lot of them made their way to Barbados, Jamaica and Barbados in particular.
You see? All right, and I'm going to prove that with a book, all right, because I got a book that goes into that, all right? So let's continue. Let me just play a little bit more.
Okay, these are facts, all right? And the first Irish really looked like so-called Negroes. And what you had was the mixing, and then now you have what the Irish...
Yeah, because before Esau came back into power, before the Renaissance era, all right, the Negro man, all right, like the Negro man you have here today in America that was brought here on slave ships during the transatlantic slave trade. We ruled those areas, all right? We ruled Ireland, Scotland, France, Germany, all right, all of Europe for about 1,000 years, all right, before Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, came in there and took everything over. All right? So I'm going to prove that real quick. Like I said, all right, this is from a book called, now I'm going to get into I'm going to prove, I'm going to read the first few of these slides that I have real quick. All right, but the whole point is to make to prove what he said, all right, about the Jamaicans, all right, coming from Ireland and Barbados. But I want to read a few of these slides real quick because I took a picture of them. All right, this is from a book called The Negro Question, Part 1 by Lee Cummins. All right, and this goes into the Irish coat of arms. All right, and as you see, the Irish coat of arms, all right, those are Negro men, man. All right, those are Negro men. All right, it says Irish coat of arms, family Gilbert crest. All right, it says this is an image of a black Irish coat of arms from the Gilbert family. 3 of the Gilberts related to this coat of arms have been traced to Barbados. Woo-hoo. All right, it says Thomas Gilbert, Barbados 1635, Francis Gilbert, Virginia 1736, and Robert Gilbert, Barbados 1678. The timeline fits with the eyewitness accounts of the Irish being shipped into the slave trade, but I have greater witnesses than this. Yeah, all right. Talking about the Irish being shipped into the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, and being brought here to the Americas. All right, that's why you have some Negroes here in America with Irish last names, O'Neill. All right, O'Shea being one of them, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So let's continue to read. It says, this book was written by a jet. Now he's showing a picture of a book. All right, right here. All right. It says the Irish and the Scots are the same people. The Scots are from a tribe from Northeast Ireland. All right. It says this book was written by Jesuit priest John J. Williams and was published in 1932 by New York Press. In this book, John describes the black Irish that were deported into slavery in Jamaica. All right. You see? All right. It says, as black people, and these pictures you see on this page are images of some of these Irish children. Once I located this book with its images, I wanted to show you the entire front cover of the book so that you can have it for your reference. These are some of the black Irish that came here on slave ships directly from Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, the Scots, Irish, or Welsh Brits are the same people. Yeah, they're all Jakes. They're all Israelites. All right, it says, according to Boyd Dawkins, our earliest ancestors, when the English invaded England in 449 AD, they pushed the black English west into Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. Mr. Boyd Dawkins further states that by 677 AD, the whites, now call themselves English, have pushed those blacks onto a land that cannot sustain them. Whoever you are on the other side of this book, this is the real history of the world. What you have been taught and exposed to is pure nonsense. The so-called royals and elites read from a different set of books. They read from these types of books, while they give you the watered-down version of history. That's why they have royal libraries and national archives. They walk around with the real wealth of the earth, wisdom, while you walk around with a lie. All right. So we're learning true history right here. All right. Now, I didn't take a picture of, there's so many pictures of pages I could have took. All right. But, I didn't want to get, just for the interest of time, for the sake of time. All right. Because I got somewhere to be. All right. But anyway, as you see right here, it says hanging of suspect Irishmen. Of suspect United, the Negroes, the Irishmen were being hanged by Esau, Edom, as you see right here. It says right here, as you can see, there was an attempt to white out this black Irishman, but somehow his blackness remained intact. Yeah, because you can see he looked like a Negro, man. All right, it says this image comes to you directly from the Irish Library in Ireland. This is what the Irish Europeans looked like, and these were the people that were sold into the Americas. Woo! All right, remember the Irish were black in the 1600s, right? And then you see Esau, Edom, stabbing the babies with the pitchforks. You see? The Negro babies with the pitchforks, right? It says, I don't want to speculate, but for some reason, some of the images show these Irish people to be of color. What are we seeing is a deliberate attempt to conceal the blackness of these Irish and Scottish people. I am only interested in the color of these people for the sake of proving to you that these people are among us and they think they came out of Africa. They came from Europe, yeah, but they were but their roots go back to Israel. All right, they're Israelites. All right, the Negro man that was brought over here on slave ships, all right, to America are Israelites. They're the real Jews, man. All right, so you see right here it says now this will prove what Apostle Gabar said, right? It says the black Irish that came into Jamaica, see, all right, had two places of origin, either Ireland or Barbados. You see, close to 300,000 black Irish came directly from Ireland, and the rest came from Barbados, all right, and they were dropped in Jamaica, all right. So that's why you have the Irish accent, all right, and the Jamaican accent are close, all right. It says 70% of all black slaves on the island of Barbados came from Ireland. All right, 70% of all black slaves on the island of Barbados came from Ireland. All right, in the 1925 census of Jamaica, there were 916,000 people on the island and only 2% white. All right, so as you see right here is the Black Earls of Ireland. All right, as you see, image of Earl Gilbert, declared 1138, 1141. You see how Esau Edom whitewashes everything. See, Esau Edom was nowhere near power, all right, during the time of the Dark Ages, you know, before the Renaissance era. It says the image of Gilbert, the Earl of Clare, Hertford, Ireland, can currently be found in the St. Mary the Virgin Church, Tewkesbury, in the English countryside of Gloucestershire. Not only is this black Irish Earl being depicted as a black man, but his coat of arms depicts him as a black man. Woo. All right, it says Cromwell's edict. Cromwell's edict. All right, it says those who fail to transplant themselves on Connaught or Clare within 6 months shall be guilty of high treason. You will then be sent to America or some other part beyond the sea. This is what the people that transported themselves to Clare look like. The image of the Earls of Clare, their coat of arms, and the edict of Cromwell is further proof. The black Irish were sent to the Americas. All right. All right. This also further proves what Apostle Gabar was saying. As you see right here in the middle column, it says Irish captives sent to, and all the way down it says Barbados and Jamaica. You see? Come on, man. All right, so you know that was just a quick, a quick, just to prove what Apostle Gabar said, just to back up his statement, man. And if it be the Lord's will, I'll go more in depth into it, because this book, from the beginning of when it starts talking about the Irish, all the way to the last page when it stops talking about the Irish, I'll read it, if it be the Lord's will. I'll go further in depth. During that lesson, I'll probably reread some of these pages, just to go more in depth, and you can see, all right. But in how Esau Edom, the so-called white man, when they came to Ireland, all right, what they did to the Negro Irish, man, which were our people. This is why some of you Negroes have Irish last names, man, because y'all were the ones back there in Ireland before Esau Edom came into power, and that's exactly why the Jamaican accent and the Irish accent is similar. Accent is similar, man. This is why I'm literally showing you right now, as you see. All right, so this was real quick, man, because I got to get out of here. All right, but Lord willing, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Ratazad, this lesson was edifying. All right, call Haloyam Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Kwitash. All right, until the next one, Shalom, Shalom.